Hi everyone, this is Miss Susan from the Free Library of Northampton Township. I'm here today for week 2 of Simple Science, and today we're going to be talking about food chains. So pick up your program kit at the library starting on Monday, and we will get started. So what is a food chain? Food chain shows the relationship between plants, animals, and other organisms. Basically, a food chain describes what eats what. So on one of our sheets here, you can see an example of a food chain. At the top of our food chain is going to be our main consumers. In this case, we have a fox as our main consumer or eater. He's at the top of the food chain. Now a fox can eat a snake, rodents, or a lizard. Those are producers. A snake is actually, additionally, a snake can eat a rodent. So rodents can be a producer for a snake. So we're going to have our consumers on the top and their producers on the bottom. When you have more than one food chains, like we have shown here with a hawk and a fox, that's called a food web. And that just shows several food chains together in a complex interwoven system. And it's important for us to take care of our food chains because just one animal or plant or organism in a food chain that gets disrupted, all of the animals and plants in that food chain and food web can be affected. So it's important for us to take care of our food chains in our ecosystem. This sheet here gives you a chance to make your own food chain. So you are going to be the main consumer at the top. Right there. And think about some of the things that you eat. Maybe a chicken sandwich, maybe a cheeseburger, maybe tuna fish. If you had a tuna fish sandwich, that would be a producer for you. And a tuna fish might have eaten something else. A tuna fish might have eaten a smaller fish. And that smaller fish might have eaten a plant in the ocean. So a plant would be the producer for the small fish, for the tuna, for you. So that's an example of a food chain. So think about the things that maybe you have eaten and make your own food chain. Here's an example of some different food chains that you can try. One is going to be in the water versus one on land. Now, food chain in the water, you might start with a shark. What does a shark eat? And a food chain on land might start with a hawk. What does a hawk eat? All right, so try to find different food chains both on water and on land. We talked about barn owls last week. So this is a food web or several food chains described with our barn owl. We might have seen something in our owl pellets. May have been a shrew or a mouse or a vole. And those animals might have eaten smaller animals or nuts, berries, or plants. This is an example of a food web. Our activity this week was making our own food chain. So I had colored and cut out my animals and plants, and I glued them to the different tubes. Now my biggest tubes is going to be my biggest consumer, and my smallest one is going to be upside down. It's going to be my producer. So this is an example of a food chain that starts with an owl who consumes a snake, might consume a mouse, might consume a grasshopper, might consume some grass. And once you have it colored and taped, then you'll be able to put each one in. So the grass will be consumed by the grasshopper, grasshopper consumed by the mouse, mouse consumed by the snake consumed by the owl. Put the owl on top. And not only did the owl eat the snake, but owl ate everything that was in that food chain, and he becomes our main consumer. All right, So try this at home, make yourself your own food chain, think about the importance of food chains around you, and we'll see you next week for Simple Science. Have a great week.